Welcome back, everybody. Today it is a little bit windy, so hopefully the audio will be good, but once again we are doing a video about the ATF and their activity. Is it nefarious? Probably. We'll get into all the details here as we go about it, but just basically a little overview for folks that don't know how this works. So I am an FFL, and obviously there are tens of thousands, if not more, FFLs, a federal firearms licensee, someone who can sell firearms. So basically, I'm required by law to maintain my records, and there's several different ways you can do it. I'm required to maintain my records for 20 years, and after 20 years, I can legally destroy them. And when I say my records, in the case that what we're talking about today, what I'm referring to is the Form 4473, which is the form that you fill out when you purchase a firearm, and generates a background check, all that kind of stuff that goes with purchasing and selling firearms. So I'm required to maintain those for 20 years. And if I go out of business and then I have to turn my records over, or if I relinquish my FFL, then I have to turn my records over of the past 20 years to the ATF. So that way, in theory, those records could be used to search for guns that are used in crimes and things like that, to trace them back. So that's the law and how it works. Additionally, I should note that there's also a law that expressly prohibits the ATF from, or any federal government agency, from creating a registry of firearms. Registries are completely illegal in America, and just if anybody is wondering why people are very adamant about that, registries lead to confiscations. There's never been a nationwide gun confiscation that has happened anywhere in the world without first being predated by a registry. So that's why it's a big deal. That's the background. That's the overview here. Now, what the heck is actually going on? So, guess a few months ago now, a congressman, as well as 52 of his colleagues, requested to know what is going on with the ATF, because it had been leaked that 54.7 million firearms records had been entered into the ATF's database this year, in the year of 2021 alone. So that's a lot, obviously, as you can imagine. And the congressman wanted to know a few things: how they're storing them, if they're scannable, if they're searchable, if they and how many they have, and then how often they're being used to trace firearms. Those were sort of like the basics of it, right? And I should also point out there will be links to all these different articles that I'm going to cite here in a second, and then I'm going to show you the actual letter as well. And this is all coming out today, as of when you guys are filming this. It's breaking news, if you will, on Monday. So anyway, that request went out in November. And back in 2016, the Trace, which is a opposition group, they're very anti-gun, funded by Bloomberg, they did a story on the ATF's storage and covered basically the history of it. Long story short, in 2016, they had been digitizing records in a way that was definitely searchable and was completely illegal. The ATF was ordered by Congress to delete them. They claimed they did, and then had to re-upload them in a way that is not searchable. And when I say not searchable, what do I mean by that? So again, they're digitizing all these records because before, I believe it was 2006, they were keeping all of them on hard copy with the 4473s physically just sitting in boxes, and their floor collapsed at the ATF because they had so many records sitting there. Good job, America. So the floor collapsed, and then they decided to create a digital archive of these so that way they didn't have to maintain the physical copies. And that was permitted by Congress, again, as long as they weren't searchable. So when I say searchable, what I mean by that is you put in John Smith, that name, into the database, and then it shows you all the guns that John Smith has ever purchased in his life. So right now, again, that's prohibited. So right now the ATF is saying they do not have that capability with their scanned files. But anybody with a rudimentary understanding of programming and modern technology knows that if they wanted to have that, they could have it in about 10 minutes. If somebody wanted to just design a program that would work like that. But they claim they don't have it, and they claim they don't use it. So in 2016, as I was alluding to, the Trace did an article and stated that they had, I believe it was 250 million records on hand. I will actually roll in, 252 million records on hand. Now, all of those records are not 4473s. There are other things, but the overwhelming majority of those are going to be 4473s, showing the person who bought a firearm, all their bio info, and what firearm they got, as well as the serial number. Additionally, some of these 4473s have multiple guns on them, so just because it's a certain number doesn't mean that number is directly one gun, but it's a pretty good guesstimation. So in 2016, they estimated that they had 252 million. And like I said, in 2021, a story came out. There was 57 million that were entered that year. So Congress was like, I want to know how many you actually have. So they did that. And this letter right here was produced. And there's a few things kind of that the letter says. I'm going to roll it in so you guys can see it. It gives the history of 2006. ATF developed the out of business records imaging system, as we already alluded to, and continues on down. In 2016, there was an issue that we talked about as well. They got slapped for it and had to delete it because it was a very easily searchable system and was a de facto registry. And then here's kind of the kicker here. It says at the end of the article, I'll put a video rather. I'll show both pages here full screen so you guys can really go through them if you want. But it says in total, ATF manages 920,664,765 what are essentially 4473. So gun purchase forms in their inventory. That's almost a billion. Almost a billion. Again, not every single one of those is going to be a 4473, but a lot of them, the vast majority of them are. And then it goes on to say that 865,787,086 of those are digitized currently, but the rest are awaiting digitized conversions. And then it goes on to say the vast majority of criminal firearms traces completed by the ATF are for the National Tracing Center, and then goes on to say it's for crimes, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then they have a little chart here showing how often it has been used since 2016, because again, 2016 is the last time that there was a big report on this, and this is sort of an update to follow up on that to show you how often it's been used. But the big, I guess, thing here that we need to understand as American citizens is that by digitizing these, they are creating a de facto gun registry, right? Obviously, it doesn't include people who bought firearms through private sales, people who completed 80% arms, etc. But President Biden in 2021 ordered a crackdown on firearms, and this is just part of it, in my opinion, to speed up the digitization, to increase the registries' ability to trace all of the firearms. Couple that with the fact that they're making a push towards, of course, 80% guns, which is simply absurd. There's no way you can ever, they're never going to be able to successfully stop homemade guns. You can quite literally make a shotgun at Lowe's for $30 that will function very reliably, and trying to stop it is simply fruitless. But anyway, that's for another day. So regardless, the big news here, of course, is that they have a gigantic registry. They claim it's not searchable, and they claim they don't use it like that right now, but again, overnight, that could be changed with modern technology. And again, they're expressly prohibited from maintaining one. So what Congress is going to do with this information now that they have received it, we shall see. Obviously, in this administration, I don't really have high hopes, but you never know. So that's the big news, and that's basically the whole point of today's video, is just to expose what they're doing and then allow you guys to react and contact your congressman and let your congressman, the president, whoever, all the people that are supposed to represent us in this representative republic that we live in, know that it's absurd and should not be happening, and there simply needs to be a better way. Now, on the plus side, almost a billion, guys. We're doing pretty well. Almost a billion. Let's bump those numbers up. Keep it going. Just not in the registry. But that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. I just wanted to let you guys know this is obviously a big deal. It's again, registration always precedes seizure. So it just is what it is, and they need to be held accountable. With that, we'll close the video out. If you like the type of video, I'm getting news on the ATF. Unfortunately, that's what I've been doing lately, way more than I want to do. Definitely subscribe. If you have questions or anything like that, you can post them down below in the comments section or at my various social media sites that you see here on your screen. Definitely check out Telegram right now. It's been awesome. One of the best places to receive information from me if you're interested in doing so. Additionally, if you're subscribed and you're not subscribed, rather hit the subscribe button. But if you are subscribed and you're not seeing 2 to 4 videos a week here on the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell. If you've done that and you're still not, then there is an algorithm censoring you from my content. The way to get around that is to sign up for my email at the link here on your screen. The email goes out at most once a month, and it has all the videos since the last email went out, so there's no social media giant censoring your eyes from my content. And additionally, what we do on many of our social media platforms that I'm sure many of you know is we share deals on stuff. So if the guns that are going on this registry, the accessories, etc., the ammo that feeds them goes on sale, we share them there as well. And that also goes out in our daily deals email once a day, as the name indicates, and it's 6 or 7 of the best deals that I find around the internet on guns and gun accessories and ammo, etc. And if it's in the email, it's the cheapest that I know of anywhere on the internet on that day at that time, so that way it saves you guys some money, and additionally it saves you some time because you don't have to do the searching because I do it for you. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks for watching. Share the video everywhere. Let people know what's going on, because without being informed, there's no way to stop it. All right, thanks. We'll see you in the next video.